all these different countries trading lots of stuff, what is she going to be able to do as well but be a spy? That's right, Sarah. You are a spy girl. Isn't that awesome? And so, yeah, I know the recording took forever. It's so lame. Probably someone had to click something. Anyways, so she is Pocteca because her parents were Pocteca. You know, you thought Mr. Mannix was a teacher. No, actually, he's a spy. Yep, turns out. And her grandparents were Pocteca. So it's the only class based on heredity. And it's one of those things that it makes kind of sense because you don't want like anybody becoming your spies because then they might be like double agents and actually betray you and things like that. So they have their own section of the city. They have their own special god. And it's pretty cool, the Pocteca. And I mean, it's fun just to say Pocteca. But most people were not Pocteca. They were farmers. They were craftsmen as well, but the vast majority of people were farmers, farming on the Chinapas. And so the peasantry is a little different. That's going to be 30% of our population. And they are more like manual laborers, servants, things like that. And so we had that example of Princess Isha, who, although lovely and amazing, is actually super duper lazy bones. And doesn't do any work and is just totally the worst. So she might actually wind up becoming a peasant. And obviously, we know we're not meaning any of those things. Isha is none of those things. She's amazing. And Aztecs did have slavery. These typically are going to be prisoners of war, people who broke laws, or people who owed lots of debt. So if Sahil walks into Best Buy, like, I will take 13 PS5s and a couple Xbox Series X's and 20 TVs to boot, and then does not pay those bills, he would then, for the Aztecs, either himself would be sold into slavery or his family. But Aztec slavery will be different than other slavery that we've studied. Slaves could own property. So, like, Sahil keeps all of his stuff. And Sahil could even own his own slaves with it as well. So the slaves is very different. Now, we still do not want to diminish the fact that you are not free. It is still a terrible, terrible, bad thing. It was very different with how the Aztecs viewed slavery. It's more like temporarily becoming a peasant. And yes, I said temporarily, because unlike past forms of slavery that we said, it's not for life. And if Sahil has kids, which you're way too young, dude. I mean, come on, wait at least another 20 years. They're not going to be slaves either. So very, very different, but still, you know, it's slavery, not good. But thankfully, it was not permanent and not mistreated or anything like that. But just to show how true it was with the Aztecs being based on merit, Itzcoatl, his mother was a slave, and he rose through the ranks and became emperor, which is pretty amazing when you think about just all of the other stories we've seen with societies and how they have their royalty going to being. Any questions? Okay. So keep on going, man. Keep on going. Family life. All right. So this is going to be a little bit better than when we talked about the Mayas because men still married around age 20. Thankfully, the girls are upgraded from 14 to 16, although still a little young. Better than when it was like 14 marrying 20-year-olds. And one of the things that the Aztecs did practice was polygamy. We're going to see a lot of similarities to when we talked about the Mongols. Because we talked about the Mongols, another warlike society that practiced polygamy. And this is when a man had more than one wife. And think about the main reason why. The guys are constantly going to war, and therefore, constantly there are going to be guys dying. So their population is literally going to have less boys than girls. And so one of the ways that they saw a way so that everyone could get married was that because there were more girls than boys, boys could marry more than one, but they would only have one primary wife, one main wife that would have all the full rights. But it was kind of a way for the society to help take care of people with it. Now, weddings were arranged, so you're still not getting to choose your true love. But the Aztecs were very open about divorce and remarriage, which is not very common for societies of this time period. So if you didn't like your spouse, they said, get a new one. Now, we do know that although there are going to be more rights to girls, men are going to have more freedoms. Women, they could own property, sell goods, they have jobs. And it's one of those things that we see the similarities between Sparta and the Mongols, which these warlike societies, if the men are at war, someone has to take care of stuff, and it's the girls. But just like most societies, they thought that the most important job was taking care of the house, the kids. But what's really cool about the Aztecs, and I really, really like this, is it does not matter your social class. It does not matter if you're a boy or girl. All children at age 6 went to school. This is important. So even if you're a slave, you still went to school. So the Aztecs, as far as I'm aware, have the first universal education system in the world. That's really cool, I think. You know, as a teacher, you'd think I'd obviously be super pro that. And I am. That's great. Everyone should learn. Now, they did have different schools, though. So it's not like Princess Isha is going to go to the same school as Farmer Simon or as Warrior Matthew or as Priestess Daughter Blake. They're going to have different schools for the different peoples. But if you are doing particularly well in your school and it's lower, you could be raised to a higher school. If you're doing particularly poorly in your high school, you could drop down to a low school, which I think is pretty cool. So, common boys, they went to Topokali, and what they're going to learn basically is farming and soldiering. Those are the two skills they're going to learn. Noble boys, they'll go to Kalmykic, where they're going to learn, you know, specialized jobs, military, commanding. So they learn strategies, tactics, those kind of things, being government official, or learning to be a priest. And let's see, based on the assignment, thinking about the time. Yeah, I think I'm going to stop us there because I want you to have plenty of time to get work done on your assignment because, you know, I don't like going